Yeah, we get a motion on the floor. I want to echo some of what Councillor Cameron was saying. There's a statistic that I like to give people from the most recent census data, and that is that only 2% of our population is between the age of 25 and 40. That's a very low number, and we do have issues around just having youth in our community. It seems every time I meet someone, they actually say, oh yeah, I used to live in West Van. I used to live in West Vancouver. It's amazing how many people used to live here. And there's a number of reasons for that. But your report is
Usually when we see a Jones come to council, it's a little more raucous. I prefer the senior Jones. I'm joking. I'd like to get...
All right, moving on to the next. We did already. We voted first and then I spoke second. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Camera, for keeping an eye on that. All right.
However, the bulkhead, which is the piece of equipment we're discussing tonight, was on the list to be replaced in 2020. It was one of the pieces of equipment that we had discussed with the Parks and Recreation staff as being something that could possibly be postponed. One of the ways we've been managing the shortfall that we have is that we keep going through the lists and saying, could this possibly be postponed? And this was one of the pieces of equipment that they thought could be postponed. So
reports from Mayor and Council. I know we haven't had time for reports in the last few meetings, so I understand that Council's got some reports to catch up on. Councillor Soprovich.
Well, I won't go way back because nobody's interested anyway.
Thank you, Councillor Soprovich.
To what we need to do to deal with overcrowding in terms of traffic. And on page 10 of the report, there's a really interesting set of graphs where they note that 80% of bus routes are slower today than 2014, and that the slower service is even worse on heavily used bus routes. So what's happening is our roads are clogging up gradually but inexorably, and what that does is it slows down and makes transit less efficient. So two things happen, or two ways to address that. One is you put more buses on the road, and they're all moving slower, but to keep your frequency, you put more buses. Well, that's cost us, even last year, $20 million in increased buses just to keep the same level of service from overcrowding. The way in which we're going to have to look moving forward, and this, I know this resonated during the Beeline debate, but it applies really across the region and generally, is that there needs to be ways to allow buses in particular to travel faster and more reliably. And so TransLink's looking at ways to cooperate with municipalities to get improvements, road improvements and priority on certain roads so that the bus service can keep moving. We're rapidly approaching a zero-sum situation where if we don't start giving bus priority, the bus service is going to get slower and slower and more expensive, and congestion is just going to keep increasing. So this is an issue that the region is going to have to tackle going forward. We have a lot of people on transit, and the transit really is the backbone, is becoming the backbone transportation-wise of the region. So I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you.
But this is what the lane closures look like in reality. The traffic the other day backed up all the way to 19th Street when there was a concrete pour at the Grosvenor building.
Yeah, just a very quick bit of information or a comment, I guess. Driving along 2200 Jefferson the other day, and I see a development sign that out of the corner. I stopped and read it. And actually, when I read it, I have to say I thought it was an April Fool's joke. And it was a little late, but they're you're going to see a proposal for 26 townhouse units. I don't know if you've seen it yet or it's been here.
We haven't, it hasn't come to
Yeah,
council yet.
I didn't think it would have.
No.
But 2 single-family dwellings come down and 26 townhouse units go up. I think what you're looking forward to or not is, you think Beeline was a bit of a pain in your backside. I think you're gonna look back at Beeline quite fondly when this thing unrolls. I mean, it's so unbelievable.
Maybe Ms. Lemus can just, for council and Mr. Hunt's, just kind of explain the process and what's going on with this.
I know the proponent's holding an information meeting, but tomorrow.
So, yeah, so thank you, Madam Mayor. So this actually is a process that came forward not too long ago, which allows an applicant to go out to the community, get feedback well before actually making a formal application to council, with the idea that they can float the idea to the community, get feedback, and whatever feedback they get should be incorporated into the development or the application that comes forward to council. So ultimately ensuring that the community has ample opportunity to hear what the proposal is and provide some feedback.
And there will be a staff member there, and we have started to hear from the community on this, and so we're very alive to the issue.
I rather imagine,
Yeah.
just based on the thing, it takes me back about 15 years to the transition zone debate, which was
Yeah.
probably predates.
No, I
most of
remember,
it.
well, it
Do you
does
remember?
predate us, but I do remember that as a
Don't think
resident.
it predates Mr. Sobrovich, but you remember that, yeah. Well, there weren't facilities big enough to handle the crowds on that. I mean, so
Yep.
people see
Fair.
this as the same thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you for waiting all that time, and appreciate you attending the meeting. All right, so I don't think I see any other speakers. Can I get a motion to adjourn the
So
council?
moved.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much.